Hello. Welcome
Hello.
to the True Conscious Couple podcast. I am Tiffany Lancaster.
And I'm Brad Lancaster. We are a blended family. When we got together, I had 4 kids, Tiffany had 3, and we've had 1 together.
We're also a couple that runs a business together.
And so we talk about those things. We talk about our journey of self-discovery, of self-improvement.
We talk about the struggles of blended families. We talk about the struggles of business. And we talk about the struggles of doing inner work.
And we also talk about the joy, the peace, the love that comes along with all of that.
And what makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, so come along for the ride.
Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to episode 29 of the True Life Balance podcast.
Yay.
We're excited. We've got Javen. Javen is, let's see, where do you fall in the 8? Number 5?
Number 5, yeah.
Javen is number 5 of the 8. He's number 2
Of my kids.
of Tiffany's original 3. And he's number 1 in everybody's heart.
That's sweet.
Yes.
Always been in the middle, though.
Always been in the middle, either
Yeah.
way.
In the middle.
He's always been a middle child. He's always been, just super independent. Even as a little kid, he figured out how to do things on his own.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you telling me one of your first memories of Javen was when he was like 6 years old. He
Mhm.
was making himself a bowl of cereal and just moved a chair over, climbed up on the counter, got the bowl, got the cereal, and just made himself a bowl of cereal.
It was funny to me because you were a little 6-year-old, and he came into the kitchen. It was right after I had moved in with your mom. I said, "Do you need any help?" He said, "No, I got it." And like literally grabbed a chair, slid it over, climbed up on top of the countertop, grabbed his cereal bowl, hopped down, grabbed a spoon, grabbed the milk that I think was like at least half the size of you at the time, and managed to pour it like you used it to. Anyway,
I was like a monkey.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's the best way to get what you want, though. You just do it
Yeah.
yourself, man.
yeah. Just take care of it, right?
I remember when you had
move
your
that a little closer to your
Little
mouth.
closer to my
Yeah,
mouth,
want to
good,
be
gotcha.
about like a fist
Fist away.
away.
That's what
Yeah.
Joe Rogan says. That's right.
That's what
even
Trenton
when
tells us too.
yeah, when you had your first sleepover with one of your buddies, I
Was
remember.
it Trenton that I had
Yeah.
my first sleepover with?
Uh-huh.
That's what I
His
thought.
mom called me and she's like, "How did you get Javen to like do his own hair and brush his teeth and like he's just so independent. He's such a little guy and he just like how long's he been doing his own hair?" And I'm like, I don't. He kind of just always has. It's so funny, just who you are.
I don't know. I think I got raised right, too. I think that's part of it.
Well, so what we've been doing is just having you kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about, we've already said where you're at in the family, but like
Right.
introduce yourself. And then we've been starting with, what do you remember? I know you were little, so it may not be much, but what do you remember from the first marriage when
Okay.
your mom and dad were married
Cool.
and the divorce? How was
Okay.
that for you?
Yeah, so what's good? Thanks for having me, you guys. It's an honor to be here. Episode 29. I'm glad to be here. I mean, but yeah, so your question was, what was that again? Sorry, remind me.
What do you remember from
The first one?
when your parents were
Oh,
married?
well, to introduce myself. Sorry to
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
you
yeah.
off.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first one.
But yeah, my name's Javen. Their kid. I recently started my own clothing brand.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur spirited kid. And my clothing brand is called Enlighten, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to enlighten people. I'm here to bring joy. I'm here to spread wisdom and enjoy this experience that we're all here on.
Love
And
it.
yeah,
Grab it right there if you want to pull it a little closer. Maybe put there. You go.
Scoot your chair in too. There you go.
but yeah, about my parents, my original parents' first marriage that I remember. I was young, and how old was I when you guys got divorced? Like
6.
6.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember watching football. It's one of the main things I remember us doing as a family. I remember it seems like a lot of that time was definitely blocked out
Mm,
because there was some traumatic experiences along as well. Like your guys' divorce was kind of ugly. You guys didn't have a good relationship after the fact.
right.
And even during the marriage, like I remember there being lots of fighting, and there'd be times where I would just go and play video games or play with my toys and just like try to almost tune it out. It was like as a coping mechanism. But I also remember good times. Like there was a lot of good times where we just had fun as a family. We went to family parties and had a good time. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a pretty good synopsis.
Yeah.
So there's good and bad.
good and bad as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember like when you found out your mom and dad were getting divorced? I mean, you were just a little guy. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was little. I'm trying to remember how I even like was brought. Like I bet you guys just sat me down and told me. But yeah, I don't remember. I remember thinking like I don't know. I remember not being like too surprised by it because like they didn't seem that happy together. But at the same time, it was like really weird because it was just like, okay, so now I'm gonna have like two separate lives essentially. Like I go live here for a while, and then like that parent's just out of my life. So that was an adjustment for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Going from your dad to your mom and back and forth doing that thing.
yeah.
If you remember, we went and stayed in Julie's basement.
hmm
We actually didn't sit you down and tell you it wasn't that cordial. It actually
we left to
took you
Julie's,
guys
huh?
and picked you. Yeah, I just like took you guys and left while he was not home. Well, I went to Julie's originally by myself and then came and got you guys from school like the next day. Brought you back to Julie's with me.
Yeah,
So, do you remember that at all?
faintly, faintly. I feel like I
Sorry.
remember. It's okay, but I feel like I remember hearing about it more at this point.
Yeah,
But
let's push pause real quick and see if Junior.
Junior's okay.
What's up, buddy?
What just happened?
You just hung up.
After asking when you're gonna be home.
Uh, actually, need to accept. Get it signed.
Why would he send it to you?
Okay.
He sends it to me. I don't know why he would send it to you. I've been signing everything on that.
Well, either way.
Okay.
Or should I call Junior back?
Yeah, since we stopped what we were doing. Kids know.
Recording hours.
Hello? Junior? What's up, bud? What's up?
Probably around 4.
We're in the middle of recording the podcast right now, okay? That's okay. Love you. I just turned. Okay. All right, sorry. So,
Where were we?
we were talking about Julie's. How much do you
yeah.
remember about that? When we
Yeah,
went to Julie's house?
I remember you being really close with Julie, and we had a relationship with Julie. Like we were really close growing up, and she was almost like a grandma, but she was your friend.
Yeah,
But yeah, we had a great relationship.
yeah.
And I remember we went over there, and then we were just staying there for a few days. And I don't remember like hearing much about it. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. How long were we there?
not very long. A few weeks. I actually don't know if you like remember all the drama that happened there. We didn't talk about it with Trenton, but do you remember much of what happened? Like at one point,
Yeah.
your dad's family showed up.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that, and like all the men from the family showed up to like the door. Like it was weird. It was a weird situation, and then police got called. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of drama. Lots of drama.
Yeah. Lots of pain going on
Yeah,
at that time.
Well, they showed up and it really scared you and Trenton, like, because they were saying, like, you guys weren't safe there. Um, and at one point, you and Trenton actually, like, snuck out of Julie's house and ran away to Tristan's, who
Hmm.
lived down the street.
Yeah, I remember Trenton had a phone and he was like talking to Dad, and you know,
Yeah.
eventually I saw him sneaking out. Actually, I remember I saw him sneaking out, and I said, "Hey, where are you going?" And he's like, "I'm going to Dad's." I was like, "Well, I'm coming with you." And he's like, "Grab your stuff," and we snuck out. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's-
It's crazy because when I was that young, it's just like blippets of memory.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, it
here and
was tough, so confusing for you guys, and that was, like, really rough for me because all of a sudden you guys were, like, missing and I couldn't find you.
there. Yeah.
There was definitely a moment of panic, and then I figured out that they had you. They weren't telling me where you were. It was crazy. It
Yeah.
really was insane.
Yeah, I could only imagine from your end being like a mom how scary that would be.
Yeah, it was rough. It was probably worse because I actually didn't see you guys for over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, didn't know where you were. Yeah, anyway, I ended up having to file a restraining order. Um, I was going to file the restraining order either way, but I had to include you guys in the restraining order in order to get you back. It was rough. Rough. Anyway, we're here to talk about the hard stuff just to let people know that, what it can what it can start out at and then how it can end up.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get
Yeah.
stuck too much in the mud. Rough.
Yeah. It's real, but you grow from it.
Yeah.
You learn from it. We've grown a lot from where we were at that time. Your guys' relationship is, much better.
Yeah.
Like all of our relationships are much better than they were at that time. So we've grown a lot, just loving each other through those hard times.
Yeah. Well, what do you, so you remember the divorce, their patches, and then, it was, a few months after your mom and dad, it was several months after your mom and dad got divorced that I met your mom and, then moved in with her. So I became stepdad, even though we weren't married at first.
Yeah.
Tell me like what that process was like for you being a stepkid.
Yeah, being a stepkid, at the beginning, I was like very unsure of you. I was like, as you'd imagine, my mom, I'm like, who's this guy? And I was also talking to my dad, and my dad was, giving me other ideas of this guy too. He was also giving me input. So at the beginning, I was really unsure, and but after time, just hanging out with you, spending time doing activities, we definitely grew together, and it didn't take long before, I realized you're a great guy.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
What do you think? So you were getting information. This is something we've dealt with my kids too, where they were being told one thing but seeing another thing.
Right. Yeah, it's like rumors getting spread around just within family.
Yeah. How does that?
Weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that uncommon. It's pretty common. And what do you have to say to adults that engage in that? How did that help you, hurt you? I mean, in the long term, everything worked out.
Right. In the long term, I just came to the truth, but it gave me a lot of preconceived ideas, and it just didn't allow me to come up with my own conclusions at the time because I was being told all these things, some may be true, some not, but it gave me all these preconceived ideas rather than just letting me come to my own conclusion and get to know him as a person.
Yeah. One of the things that I hear from, I've heard from Trenton, from other kids, is, those, when you hear those things from any side, and then you find out that's not necessarily true. What does that do anything for you? What does that bring up for you?
It's just trust, right? And being able to believe what people say. When the person has told the truth in the past, you trust them more. So just once I realized everything he told me wasn't true, then the relationship takes some damage from that.
Yeah.
not being able to trust, that he's
Yeah.
always telling me the truth or what's even in my best interest.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. And the reason I'm asking this is because what I've noticed is even when parents or family members of a child that's going through divorce,
Mm-hmm.
they have these really good intentions, right? Like I'm gonna protect my kid because I believe that. Like I believe everybody, even my enemies, I believe they have good intentions. I really do.
Yeah.
And I don't really have that many enemies, but people that have who might classify me as their enemy. I don't know. My point is, like, for a kid who's involved, when you tell that kid what you don't like about that other adult,
Yeah.
if that other adult who has free will and has the ability to change and grow, if that other adult shows something different than what you're telling the kid, you're actually doing yourself a disservice, right?
Very true.
Like you're destroying
Very
trust
true.
between you and that child when you're trying to just help them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost like a poison that you spread by telling someone like to fear something or someone. As soon as you tell them that, like that fear is in them, and then if they accept that to be true, then every time they see that person, they're gonna fear them. But then if they learn that they're not evil, then they're just gonna think that you're spreading fear for no reason.
Yeah. So the poison comes back to you.
Poison comes back to you. Yeah. It's an idea from the Four Agreements.
Right. Yeah.
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 Very true.
So true. When do you what are some of your first memories of Brad and like the first time you started really like having like accepting him as like your stepdad?
Yeah, that's a good question. My first memory, we went to Pizza Hut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I definitely remember going to Pizza Hut, meeting him, eating pizza. I don't remember a whole lot, but I do remember the experience. And then it was really just spending time with your kids, your boys, Sam and Gabe, and Rachel and Abby. I mean Abby later on, but yeah, just spending time with your kids and just with you. I remember thinking of like sledding. You guys like put a lot of conscious effort into fun activities that we could all do together. So it was like way fun because we'd all to get together and it'd be like a party basically
Mhm.
with all the siblings, and we'd be doing some fun activities.
Yeah.
And that was the best bonding time, I felt like.
Yeah.
So it was the activities, the playing together.
Yeah,
That makes
just
sense.
games, competing, laughing, watching movies, little stuff like that. It was definitely brought us all together.
Well, you started out also you played soccer with your dad coaching you
Yep.
as a little guy.
Yeah.
And then at one point you decided you wanted to play football
Mm-hmm.
and actually not play soccer anymore.
Yeah.
So you made a switch, and Brad didn't coach you the first year, but he started coaching you after that
Right.
first year.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was great. I mean, it obviously grew our relationship, being able to, for both of us to just play a sport that we love. You coach me and all my buddies. It was a great time.
We won a championship.
And we
too.
won a championship, so we are champions.
Yeah, that's the only. Did we go undefeated?
I think we did go undefeated that
Yeah,
year.
that first year. Yeah,
Was it the first year or the second year?
the first year.
First year.
Yeah,
Pretty
that
good
first year we went undefeated and won a championship.
It was a good time.
That's fun.
Way
It's a
fun.
lot of fun.
And ended up playing with a lot of those kids later,
Yeah, high school, huh?
junior and senior year of high
Yeah.
school. Yep.
Yeah, that was a huge piece. I do strongly suggest that for step parents. Anytime you can get involved in extracurricular activities and show up, like you're volunteering, it's free of charge, but it's just lots of time where you can show who you really are. Which, by the way, like it's going to show who you really are.
Yeah.
So it's important that you continue to do work, so that, because if you've got a temper, that will show up.
Yeah. Sure.
If you have a problem with anger, if you have a problem with resentment, if you're insecure, whatever it is, it's going to show up. You're not going to be able to hide it for very long. So make sure you're doing your work.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do your work, heal your wounds.
Yeah. So, so it's been, so when you were like in junior high school, that's about because you had a relationship with your dad going for a while. after the divorce.
Yeah.
And then after a few years, your dad, we've talked about this on other episodes. He made a decision to basically exit your guys' life, and told Tiff, I don't know if he ever told you guys, but that he thought it was best because of his mental illness, his addictions, that it would be best for you guys, for him not to be around.
Yep.
What's that been like for you? We don't talk a ton about it. I mean, we've talked some about it, but how's that affected you, and how much conscious awareness do you have of how that's affected you?
Yeah, I've definitely took some time like thinking about it and processing it, just as like, the situation in whole. Like you said, growing up, I had a great relationship with my dad. Played soccer together. He was always great, like with playing games. Like I loved playing games growing up, and he would always play games with me. So we had a great relationship. But then, as our relationship has gone on, it was more and more toxic. Like all the way up until the point where he took himself out, and it was sad because it's not that like, because he was always saying that, right? Like that he thought it would be better without us in his life. Like he thought it would be better for us, but I just don't feel like that is exactly true, obviously. Because even him as his like imperfect self, like him being in my life, just alone of him being there and like having a relationship with him definitely is valued. But about the effect on me, like I feel like I'm extremely blessed because I've had Brad in my life, and he's been a fantastic dad. And I'm grateful for all the things my other dad taught me as well. I feel like I've been taught a lot of good things to do to be a great man, and a lot of things not to do. And I'm grateful for both, honestly.
That's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You've recently started like talking to your dad again for the first time.
Yeah.
How has that been?
That's been amazing, honestly, because the biggest difference between now and like, what was it, probably a couple years ago, is I just feel so much like stronger in myself and more confident that when I can approach him, I'm like from a place of strength rather than, a place of like a child needing like security almost from my dad. Now I feel like much more confident in myself that I can actually help him and like give him, new perspective on his healing journey.
Yeah,
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
it is. How long did you go without seeing him? Do you know?
I remember I saw him right before I got my driver's license because I was at the what was I at? I was at the driving school, and I saw him right after we had a meal, and then basically that was it. Then I saw him a few times in public actually, but besides that, like I just never saw him.
Yeah.
So it was probably about 2 years.
Well, and I think it was a while before you got your driver's license too. Like
Yeah.
when you actually spent time with him.
Yeah, it's probably been about 4 years.
Been longer than that.
5
It was back
years?
before Trenton graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because he
Been
took
like
him out.
6
before
years.
2018. Yeah.
That's crazy.
5.
Time flies.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something that's amazing. And I think especially for like kids who've experienced trauma, because you're so young to be, it's still one of the things that blows me away. You're only 18 years old, and you talk about healing, you talk about doing your own work from a real, like most people don't even begin thinking about this until they're into their 30s and they realize they've got a lot of shit that they've been ignoring.
Yeah.
What does like that work that allows you to show up from a place of strength, a place of love, a place of compassion? What's that been like for you? How have you done that? Because we all do it our own way.
Right. Yeah, it's really was the inner workbook that got me started into it, because you begin to understand that your consciousness and your theme of consciousness totally creates your entire reality and your entire experience within this reality. So once I learned that, I just started paying attention and being the observer of my thoughts and not attaching to thoughts, and just allowing myself to be and then do the things that make me feel strong and make me feel love. So
You've always had this sense of like calmness about you, and like this inner wisdom
Yeah.
from the time you were little. So I think you just being exposed to this idea of inner work and consciousness, it's kind of always been within you. You just didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Has been my observation as your mom. I've watched you. Uh, I've watched you be able to like keep your cool and uh, whether it was having a hard conversation about, not normally about your grades because typically you were 4.0 student, but whatever the hard conversation was that we would have to have with you, you always were very conscious and aware and calm and collected.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I honestly don't know where you learned that from. Seems to be something you kind of
Yeah.
just,
I remember actually having this experience where I had a paper cut and like just the like someone told me if you don't focus on it, it won't hurt. And like that idea of where your focus and your attention goes is what grows essentially. So if you focus on the pain, if you focus on what's hurting you, then that's where your focus is. But if you don't focus on it, obviously there's a balance, but
right. Because when you're doing the healing, you have to
you
like
have to
look
look
at
at
it.
it. Yeah, you have to be able to look at it, be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and just rewrite the story.
Well, what other practices? Because that's cool. You read the inner workbook, which is
Yeah.
amazing, and you
Thanks.
read that. I mean, the book's amazing itself, but the fact that you, as a 17-year-old kid, you read it and you internalized it. So, so there's the inner work, but like the inner work, and any healer will tell you that there's real work you have to do. Like
Yeah.
there's some protocols, there's some practices that you have to put into place. What have been some of the practices that you've adopted?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like they've lasted, some haven't, but
Right.
they've all served you in some way or another, right?
Totally.
What have those been?
So the first one that I
And this
started
is because I
doing-
don't want to just sit here and brag about everything you do. So you brag a little
Thanks.
bit.
Yeah, I can brag about myself a little bit. I can only brag because you guys taught me a lot of it. So it kind of bragging about you guys in a way anyway.
Okay.
But the first one is meditation. I started meditating, and what I was talking about being the observer and just being present in the moment, incredibly valuable. Like in this like day and age, I feel like we're in such a rush all the time, trying to get here, trying to get there, but rather than just being in the now, because if you think about it, the now is all we ever have. Like we can't be in the future, we can't be in the past. We're just here,
Yeah.
just here now, and accepting it, knowing that it's perfect, breathing in it, always coming back to your breath in times of struggle or chaos. It just relaxes your body, relaxes your mind. And then another
When
one
did you start meditating? Like, not, I'm not saying like when were you perfect at, because
Right.
meditation is a practice that's always
Practice,
evolving,
they're
right?
Or when was the first time you remember?
I think it was in a yoga class. Maybe we did it like
Wanderlust or?
I definitely remember meditating a lot in Wanderlust. But I think it was just one of the yoga classes mom
We did
started
at our
us
house.
doing, yeah, that we did at our house. We used to have those nights where we'd have the whole fam in the yoga studio.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably then. And then, I've connected to a lot of people that talk about meditation and just implemented it into my own routine. And then the next one.
When do you like to meditate? Just curious.
I like to meditate first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I wake up, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom, and then I go and meditate. I feel like right in the morning, you're in a really unique like mind space where you're like kind of still a little tired, but you're also like almost lucid in a way. So you can be
Mhm.
very creative and find your center first thing in the morning before your
I
day
like it.
starts.
Do you do guided meditations, or are you primarily just doing your own like mindfulness meditation?
I prefer to do my own mindful meditation, like without any noise or maybe like some vibration, some frequencies, sound bowls, something like that. But I do guided meditations as well. I really like Yoga Nidra, where you just relax and you're guided through relaxing your entire body. I really enjoy those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really cool meditation practice,
Yeah,
and
highly recommend it.
highly recommended. And I notice like the calm and the peace that you bring to your mornings by doing that. So
Yeah, it's
It's
very
something
important for me.
yeah, yeah, I love watching it.
Yeah. And then the next one I would say is definitely journaling. Started a journal probably started my first journal like 3 years ago, and something about journaling is very powerful. I've always known that our words are powerful, and like the way we speak and like whatever we say is extremely powerful. But something about writing it down, even if you're the only person that ever sees it, is powerful as well. And
So what do you journal about? What does your journaling look like?
so when I journal, I like to script. Another thing taught by the yoga couple, but you basically start with I'm so happy and grateful now that, or I'm so happy and grateful because, whatever you want to go into, but you just start manifesting your reality. You write down the way you want your day to go, and then you go and take action. Have your
Nice.
day.
Creating the emotion
Yeah,
first thing
exactly.
in the morning.
Yeah, really
As if it's
embodying
already
the energy. Yeah.
Okay. That's powerful stuff. That like that one thing when I implement it consistently, and I am not perfectly consistent at it. I have good spells and I have bad spells.
Mm-hmm.
But when I implement it consistently, it does exactly that.
Yeah.
And what Tiff and I were taught is the scripting is like imagine your dream life, your dream day.
Yeah.
And then that's what you're scripting is. You're scripting as if it's already there. It's already happening. It's
Yeah.
already manifest.
Yeah.
So you can feel the emotion. You can see. And then from that place, you're making decisions about what you're going to do on that day. Because then, like, if you act like the person that has that dream life that you're going after, if you act like that every day,
You
it's
will
only a
become-
matter of
yeah,
time before that is your reality. Because
exactly.
that's all it takes.
I like to think of it as transcending beyond time almost. It's like when you can tap into that future self, that future reality where you are that person and you have those things and you can tap into that energy and embody it right now, then you're almost like transcending time in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you're aligning to that frequency. You're feeling that emotion as if it already is. Just
mhm.
like your brain doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
You know, if you go out and watch a sunset and it gives you this feeling of awe and gratitude and blissfulness,
Mhm.
and then later that day or the next day, you're sitting in your room or your office and you close your eyes and visualize that same thing and evoke that same emotion, your physiology doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're just aligned with
Mhm.
that experience vibrationally, which brings that to you. That's the way that the universe works, right?
The quantum field.
And most people obsess over their past
Mhm.
and evoke more negative emotions because they are looking at like regretting or obsessing about things that didn't go right, which then brings them more of that rather than looking for the future you want and evoking that emotion so that you can get more of that, so you can align with that vibration.
Not focusing on the paper cut.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Javen, in so many ways, because this wisdom that you possess, this knowledge, and the discipline that you have in incorporating all of the wisdom and knowledge is just, I can't even imagine what my life would look like if I knew what you know at 18.
Thank you, Mom. I love you so much, and I appreciate all that you said. And I really do have like a lot to credit to you, but yeah,
Yeah, but
I
you've
feel-
done
I
the
feel
work.
incredibly-
You do it.
I
Um,
do. Yeah.
He's still, it's not that we rarely have family arguments or whatever you want to call it, but
Mhm.
I remember having this moment of being super proud of you because I was actually riding Taylin a little bit because she hadn't been practicing her solo,
Mhm.
and it triggered Trenton because he saw how much it was like it upset Taylin that I was asking her about it.
Yeah.
And it started this big argument because Trenton jumped in and told me, to lay off a Taylin, and then Brad jumped in and said, "Don't talk to your mom that way." And we're sitting at the dinner table, which is like so unlike us. I'm not just saying that, but literally, that's like one of the only times I can remember something like this happening.
I definitely remember this exact night
Yeah,
because it was,
yeah, it was like
unusual.
very unusual, and there was all this bickering happening. And typically when we sit down at the dinner table, we're normally just talking about each other's days or gratitude, saying what we're grateful for. And somehow this day turned into this. But anyway, I remember Javen piping up and saying, you guys, we all have heightened emotions right now. This isn't how we should be handling this situation. I think we all just need to take a couple breaths and remember, come back to love, that we love each other. We're all family. Like, what are we doing? And I remember sitting there and just being like, how did he just do that to me? Like, this is my kid. Now he's like holding
Coaching.
the mirror up for me.
No, I
and he's
definitely did.
absolutely right. And it was just a beautiful moment where I was just like so proud that you were my son.
Yeah, it was a good moment because I wasn't saying much. I was just kind of just biting my tongue the whole time, just like eating my food, letting people bicker almost. And then finally I piped up and said something.
Well, me and Trenton were getting pretty heated with each
yeah,
other.
it did get heated. That's when I felt like I had to say something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't have this right now. Let me say something. But yeah, it definitely landed. Like, it was very effective. And
Oh,
we
100%.
definitely
Well,
came back
everybody
to
knew
love,
you were
yeah.
absolutely right. And so nobody could argue it. And we were like, wow, yeah, that just happened.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize how advanced you were like in your consciousness journey. So
Okay, so you meditate, you journal.
Yes.
What else? What else do you do?
Yoga.
You do yoga.
I do yoga. Big fan of yoga. It's kind of like meditation in a way where I get in that same mental space of like a lot of clarity and like, almost that zen like state, but you're also moving and incorporating your body, which is really good. And you're just like decompressing your body, which is very healthy, stretching out, and it's good for you. And you just feel great. You feel great. Connect mind, body, and spirit, as they say.
Yeah. Okay. We love yoga.
Yoga's
Love
great.
the yoga practice. What else? Is that it?
No, that's not it.
Not even close.
Yeah, I try to do 10 habits every day. That's what I've been doing recently. And obviously, it's not perfect every day, but just trying to get those habits in is really great for me.
10 habits that you feel help you on your growth.
On my growth, yeah.
Like whatever it is. Like, give me an example of what some of the habits are that you incorporate.
Those first 3 are all my habits. And then another one that I have, my next one is for business. It's a business power list. So if you're familiar with the power list, it's like the 5 just action
3 to 5
items.
action items.
3 to 5 action items. So I try to do 5 action items just to push my business forward a little bit. If I just put a little bit of energy, do one power task, then that's great. But I try to do 5 a day of those. And then next I work out. And I've been working out for a minute now. Probably
By working out, you mean like you lift?
I lift, yeah. I like to lift, or I'll do some body weight stuff too, but just really exercise my muscles. Yeah, resistance training in some form. Do that for about an hour, and then let's see. Next, I try to read every day. I've been trying to learn Spanish, so I'm doing Duolingo lesson every day. It's a fun one, pretty quick, pretty easy, but pick up a few words every day. So that one's really good. And then I'm trying to think. I'm missing a few.
But that's a good example, though. That's a good.
Yeah, just creating disciplines, right? Disciplines, so I can make sure I'm growing every day, stacking the bricks one at a time.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And you're in a relationship?
I'm in a fantastic relationship. My beautiful girlfriend that I love.
About that.
Yeah, I mean, her name's Tatiana. I've known her since freshman year, and she was a grade older than me. And I hit on her as a freshman, got her number in the hallways. And then we disconnected for like a few years. And then recently, 4 months ago, started dating her out of high school.
And you guys are moving to Fresno.
We're moving to Fresno, California.
Oof.
To go do summer sales and sell solar, build some more skills, stack some more bricks, meet some new people. Put myself in a new environment. I'm really excited about the whole experience.
We're excited for you too. Gonna miss you.
I know I'm gonna miss you guys too. It's gonna be weird not having you guys there, but we got FaceTime.
Yeah.
And planes, cars.
Yeah.
We'll do a good job of staying in touch.
For sure.
So one of the big, did you have something you were going to ask?
Mm-mm.
So one of the big parts that we want to make sure we focus on is we feel like when it comes to blended families, we've done it as well as can be done. I'm not saying we've been perfect, but we've done it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like we've got step siblings, step parents, and nobody refers to each other as step anything. It's
Nope.
siblings and parents.
That's right.
So what do you think are some of the key ingredients? Like, because you've shown like the key stuff you're doing for your own personal growth. What do you think some of the rituals or habits or things that we do have contributed to, well, I guess first and foremost, do you feel like, how do you feel about our, that's kind of a leading question. I mean, I'm not an interviewer, I'm your stepdad, but like as your dad, like what are some of the things that
you've done a great job.
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job, but I'm always curious what you guys think we've done good at, because they haven't always been the same. What I think we did good at.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely did a great job. I mean, blending a family is a very complex thing. You're dealing with lots of different personalities and age groups, and it's a family. So any family can be tricky. But yeah, you guys did a great job blending us together. I think the main things you guys did well were like focusing on love, doing things that you love and doing it together, growing together, building that bond the way you do, the way you'd build a bond with anyone, going through experiences together, doing hard things together, doing fun things together, stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Simple practices like gratitude at the dinner table, having dinner together in the first place is a great one. And going back to what I said, just having fun together. We would always do fun things together.
We've done lots of fun things together.
Having siblings is fun. Like at the end of the day, I mean, siblings fight and you conflict, but at the end of the day, it's fun to have a permanent friend.
Yeah, because you got the built-in friend, right?
What was your experience with your siblings, step siblings, like meeting them? You and Sam.
We're close from the beginning.
Yeah. What's your
we're like the
memories of
same
that?
height and look like twins, so we got along real quick. We liked games, so we were little boys. We were easy. But I remember I had lots of older siblings, and I remember always wanting to be like treated as an older sibling. That was definitely something that I felt. I was like, I always wanted to be treated older than I was.
Yeah.
Have the same privileges as the older siblings. But I remember I was like pretty cool with everyone. Like your kids were nice from the beginning. I thought they were a little weird because they were Mormon, but I grew to be comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Found some Mormon friends at school too, so it wasn't that weird.
Yeah.
That's funny.
By the time you started being friends with Mormon people, you're like, yeah, I understand how this works.
I know, I'm like talking about SpongeBob or saying words that they don't use. So
that's funny.
They're talking about Sunday school. I'm like, you guys have school on Sunday? Weird. No, thank you.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, we did a lot of playing together, and that was one of the things we were intentional about. Like we learned how to rock climb. We bowled, played laser tag. Lots of fun stuff.
Do you have a memory of meeting Brad's kids for the first time, or first few times? What's your first memory?
I honestly couldn't tell you my first memory. I feel like I have so many with them now. What was the first time we met? Like, when was it? What were we doing?
Probably at Abby's birthday. Or was it Taylan's birthday? Taylan's birthday. But Gabe didn't come out then. Abby and Rachel
it would have
came
been. The first time we went to the park, with your kids, I think it was just me. And then the first time we got them together might have been a soccer game or
I don't know.
at the park. I don't really remember.
I definitely remember us going to games a lot.
Was it at Nana's, your mom's house?
It
was
was
some event.
Somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, old Nana and Papa's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we have pictures of you and Sam.
Oh my goodness.
Or no, it was Trenton and Sam playing
Trenton
Legos,
and Sam
and you and Gabe.
You and Gabe were playing video games, and you had your tongue out.
Of course. I know I'm locked in. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was more than just your siblings too. Like I got a whole nother side of a family.
Mm-hmm.
New
New
Nana and
grandparents.
Papa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Remember Tay telling us that she thought Nana and Papa's names were Nana and Papa. And your dad was arguing with her saying that's not their real names. And she was like, yeah, it is.
That's what everybody
That's what
calls them.
everyone
Their
calls
name
them.
is Nana and Papa.
That's cute. That's way cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are good memories.
Yeah.
Those are really good
Some
memories.
great memories for sure. Oh,
Go ahead.
I definitely have a memory of us sledding at the sledding hill here in Stansbury.
Mm-hmm.
And we were pretty young at that time. Taylin was a baby.
Yeah.
We have that photo with her on top of the snowball. But yeah, that was a great memory. I remember just
That was a good
a
memory.
memory of having great fun with all the siblings,
Yeah.
the whole squad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was when the hill was in the right spot too.
I know. Sad.
It
Sad to
is sad.
see.
We also took you guys sledding. Was that up in Park City?
Soldier Hollow, yeah.
Soldier.
That was
Yeah,
a
we
good.
did
That's
that
a good
inner
hill.
tube.
That was
Yeah.
an early. That was like the first time.
That was the first big
We didn't
activity we
take
did.
Tay
We didn't
because
take
she
Tay.
was-
She was too little.
So crazy looking back at those memories from like 10 years ago now.
12 years ago.
12. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 12 years. Well, this is actually our 13th year together, which is amazing. So those are the good things. What were some of the struggles that you remember? If you remember any struggles, what were the hardest parts about it for you?
Definitely I felt like okay, so I had Sam, Trenton had Gabe, so like these I don't know, I feel like the siblings were kind of very competitive and sometimes almost felt like we were getting treated differently and like competitive for your guys' attention, for your guys'
Mm,
and I feel like that was the biggest conflict for most of the time. Like, and just feeling like the one parent was treating a kid different because of like who's the actual kid. At the beginning, when we were like a little more divisive, it was Brad's kids and mom's kids, and then for Tiffany's kids.
Yeah.
And then eventually we kind of united.
yeah,
It was definitely a struggle in the
for
beginning.
sure. Yeah, and because we did even use that language, your kids and my kids.
Yeah, when
Mhm.
we got over that language barrier,
Yeah,
like it was like a language barrier, like you said in there, Brad's kids, Tiffany's kids.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're
eventually
just
we
the kids. They're
Yeah,
our kids.
I remember I remember that I don't remember when it was, but I remember the discussion we had in bed. Mom and I were laying in bed, and it was just getting you guys on. Well, that where and like candidly, mostly it was me treating kids different.
Yeah.
It was not her treating kids different. It was me treating kids different for
There
the
was
most part.
definitely that as well.
Yeah.
though. There was both. I can remember instances for both.
Yeah, but primarily it was me.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that it's typical because
it is typical. Yeah.
typically the dad who doesn't live with his kids anymore is trying to
That's what you mean.
overcompensate
Yeah.
for not being around his kids. So
Yeah.
there's you're a little more hesitant to discipline. You're a little more hesitant to like really correct them in any way.
Mhm.
And when you're living with kids, the kids you live with, like it's a little more natural to
Mhm.
discipline those kids.
Yeah, totally
Easy to
makes
take
sense.
it for granted. Well, I acknowledged and I continue to acknowledge, like I dealt with so much guilt for even putting my kids through divorce. I felt so bad that I was the one that caused this divorce because I used to tell myself that story for so long.
Right.
And it's interesting because like when talking of themes of consciousness, when you're in that theme of consciousness of guilt and judgment, that's what you're going to see. And that's what you're going to project. At least that's what I've done. When I've, felt really guilty and dealt with a lot of self-judgment, I've projected that on you guys.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. We had the discussion in bed and your mom said to me, like, this could be the thing that ends our relationship is how you treat my kids different than your kids. And she said, was it Was it something you had read, or was it just something that came to you that said we have to stop calling them our kids? And
I think it was just something that came to me. I just had this, like, it was an issue at first because, like, as a mom, you feel guilty too. Well, kids, so the odds are totally stacked against you when you're in a second marriage and there's kids involved. Kids, I think kids can be a killer of relationships even if you're married. Like, kids just bring in a whole new dynamic, but it's like amplified when it's a blended family situation because it's hard. And I remember um, j- just I never wanted to be the mom that put up with like allowed a relationship, like allowed her kids to be treated less than because he was good to her and because I wanted the relationship. And so and we made a promise early on that, like, if we were feeling unsettled, if we were not happy with the relationship in any way, we would talk about it. Like, that was our rule. Like, we wouldn't just sweep things under the rug and not say anything.
Huge. Very important.
Is-
Sorry, we're gonna run out.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, so I do remember bringing it to Brad's attention that, like, hey, I understand why you're overcompensating. And I think there was a little bit of like subconscious, like, him wanting to show his kids, like, they're not replacing you. I don't even think it's a conscious level
Right.
type thing,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, we had to become aware of it. And I think just like I had the conversation with Brad about other things, it was not even a like, oh, I'm going to leave you if you don't do this. It was this is where our relationship is going to end up if we don't fix this.
Yeah.
Type conversation.
yeah, that was when we made the decision, because up to that point, sometimes on Wednesdays you guys would come to Sandy, and sometimes you wouldn't.
Yep.
Sometimes I'd just go by myself, and we decided that we would just make it like policy that we just all go in together. We do it together.
Family time, basically.
Yeah, family time on Wednesdays, and it became the new norm, and it shifted everything.
Well, we said, like, because I didn't want to say, oh, like, you're not allowed any time, but I thought, like, we would be intentional about the Wednesdays that you would go with your kids and I would do something with just my kids, but I didn't want that to be the norm because then you're just fostering this
The
separation
division. Yeah.
rather than, fostering a relationship together as a family.
Right. And I think that's another great thing you guys did to unite us is we did everything all together. Like, it wasn't like, we were scattered. We were a team doing everything we
Well,
did.
we had to build to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because we didn't, and I think that's one of the things where, like, a blended family getting together,
Mm-hmm.
you can shortcut the time that it takes to blend that family together if you really make it about the new family.
Yeah.
And eliminate, and use empowering words. These are our kids.
Mm-hmm.
These are the parents, because, like, you guys called us the parents.
The parents, yeah.
And I love that because it's not saying my parents. It's not saying, because even Sam refers to his mom and stepdad as the parents, but he also refers to us as the parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I think
just
it's perfect.
an acknowledgement of these are the parents.
It was something that they started calling us first from the time you guys were little. Like, I don't know who started calling us the
Yeah, I don't
parents,
either.
but
It stuck quick, yeah.
It did
Yeah.
stick. Well, Javen, I think you're the first person to bring that up.
yeah.
And
Really?
yeah, and I'm really grateful for that because it's something that it can still be something in any blended family, and it can be something in our family that we have to challenge ourselves on. I have to challenge myself on.
Right.
Am I, because at this point, after being your dad for the better part of 12 years,
Mm-hmm.
I know you. I know you really well.
Definitely.
I know Trenton really well. I know your strengths. I know your triggers. I know, I think I know a lot of your struggles.
Yeah.
And I love you for all of them. And I can say that, like, for me, shifting my language
Mhm.
and saying, like, because I don't like introducing my kids as my stepkids.
Yeah.
I don't do that unless somebody asks. Like, I'll clarify technically, because people know we're a blended family. This was Tiff's first son or second son or whatever.
Right.
But like a lot of people don't know,
Yeah.
like, that don't know us very well. You know, they don't know that you're my stepchildren. They just know, oh, those are Brad's kids.
Same here. Same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I remember Javen's football coach saying you look just like your dad.
I remember that. I mean, that was funny. I was like, yeah, we do kind of look like.
No real reason why, but we're together all the time. But
Right.
but that but I appreciate you so much bringing that up, because first of all, it was a reminder to me. You reminded me that I've come a long way as a dad, and as a step parent,
Absolutely.
and I still have a long way to go. Like,
Yep.
it's a journey that never stops.
Yep.
And it's if you're marrying a woman with kids, you are not just marrying that woman.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that probably creates all the division in all these relationships with kids being involved, these
Yeah.
second marriages, because they don't understand that concept. Like, if they have kids, you're basically marrying into a family.
Yes, you're marrying a family.
That's what you need to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not okay with that, then just don't be okay with it, and don't move forward. Don't create more trauma. Just
I remember when we got married, I don't think we've said it on any of these episodes, but Brad's kids weren't, Brad's ex-wife interfered with his kids coming to our wedding.
Mhm.
And I scheduled engagement pictures and I scheduled family pictures for our engagement pictures because that's the way I looked at it. And it was an awesome thing that we got to do the sand ceremony for our vow renewal, but I had planned to do that at our wedding. Like, that sand ceremony was something that I was planning on doing when we got married.
Really? You
Yeah.
had planned that from that long ago?
Yeah.
I had no idea you planned it for your original wedding. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
glad we
something I
got to
wanted
do
to
it
do at our
finally.
original wedding, but so I was heartbroken and almost actually called off the wedding
Wow.
when Brad said, like, the kids are not going to be there, because I was like, that's what this is about. Like, I get that it's me and you, but it's also like this union of a family, you
Yeah,
know?
that was hard for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, everything works out, but we ended up going through with the engagement pictures anyway, and it's just you kids and Brad,
And
me and Brad.
They're pretty cute
And
too.
they are
very
cute. The
Yeah.
picture frame of you guys are holding up the picture frame, and
Mhm.
Brad and I are in the background. And
Yeah.
to me, it represents, like, even though Brad's kids weren't there, it was like Brad agreeing to, like, fill that role for you guys as well,
Yeah.
you know?
It was a cute idea, us holding up the picture frame, empty picture frame, and you guys in
Yeah.
the background.
And
Yeah.
there's also one of us lying down on the grass, and, like, it's all of our heads. And it's funny, I had a lot of these poses, like, already picked out for how, because they were all, like, blended family ideas
Yeah.
on Pinterest.
Cute.
But yeah.
Yeah, well,
But-
eventually they came to the ceremony.
That's right.
Yeah.
We eventually got it all done.
We had a 10-year vow renewal where we did the sand ceremony. We had a beautiful just ceremony and rituals that we did, like, bringing us all together.
Yeah.
Had a cacao ceremony. It was like,
It was like a family retreat, honestly.
Mhm.
yeah.
But it was
was.
great. It was very healing, I think,
So,
for the whole
sure.
family.
so yeah.
And it was better than I could have ever imagined. So
Yeah, it
it's
was
funny how
perfect.
things work out that way.
Well, some of the other things a couple of the other things. What do you have any advice for kids of divorce? Because you've done an amazing job of self-development, of growing into who you are now, and I'm stoked to see who you become. But
Yeah.
what advice do you have for kids of divorce? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely a hard position to be in, your parents splitting up, but I think just allow yourself to love both of them, and don't hold grudges. Don't blame yourself. Just understand that it's those two individuals. It's not you, and there's nothing wrong with you. no matter, who your parents are or what they've done, you are not. You're a sovereign individual, and you have worth, and
Yeah.
you're enough, and you deserve to be here, and you have limitless potential. So,
I love it. What about as their like what advice would you give someone, say they just had a new step parent come into
mhm,
their life? That can be tricky because step
right.
parents aren't always, you know.
Yeah. I mean, just allow your guys' relationship to flow naturally.
Yeah.
And like you can be grateful that there's someone who's willing to love one of your parents because if at least I would hope you love your parent. I mean, they brought you into this world. They've already done a lot as far as that's concerned, but not that you owe them anything. But yeah, I mean, you can love someone just for the fact that they're showing love to your parent. And I think that's a great place to start. Just being grateful that there's someone that cares about your parent, even a little bit as much as you do. And
Yeah.
then just let your guys' relationship flow. I feel like that's how me and Brad's went. We just started talking, had fun together, figured out we both like football. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, find common ground if you
Find
can.
common ground. Yeah.
And I love that you brought up gratitude.
Yeah.
You're never too young to be grateful.
Very true.
Right?
And talking about changing your state, like immediately, your inner world starts to change when you understand like all the things that you have to be grateful for in your life.
Yeah.
If your inner world changes, then your outer world becomes
Yep.
whatever you want it to be.
Exactly.
And I know I just want to add, like, time just really does fly by.
True.
Like you guys just all grew up, it seems like, in the blink of an eye. And so nothing lasts forever. And even when it seems like things aren't going the way you want them to go, like before you know it, you're going to wake up and it's going to be 10 years down the road. And
Yeah.
so back to what you were saying earlier about just living in the now,
Yep.
because the now doesn't last that long.
Right.
It's before you know it, it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's temporary.
Yeah.
So you got to cherish every
Blink of an
moment.
eye. For sure.
Cherish the good moments and all the hard moments. Understand that those are going to pass too.
And they're
They're
there
also
to
temporary.
Yeah, and they're there to help you grow. They're there
Right.
to help you learn, because you don't learn without going through some sort of struggle.
Yeah.
And anything worth having is worth like fighting for and struggling
Absolutely.
for. So
Yeah.
it's all working out in your favor.
Yeah. Embrace it.
This has been great.
That's been a good one. Have we gone over an hour?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we came back
He's
in, huh?
reset it twice. So we've definitely hit an hour. Anything else you think you need to share?
I just want to share gratitude for you guys doing everything you do for me and helping me grow into the person I'm becoming every day. And just having you guys in my corner means the world. And having our family means the world too. I always got some great people in my life that love me and I know I can trust. And
Yeah.
that's everything.
It is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like
We will
that network
always
that we've built just within
Mhm.
our own family.
Yeah. And we make each other grow stronger,
Yeah.
physically and, mentally and in all facets of
Yeah.
life.
Yep. We will always be in your corner.
Yeah.
100%.
Goes for all of our kids.
Yeah.
Love you, Javen.
I love you guys.
Well, thanks, Javen. This has been really good.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody for listening. Give Javen a follow if you are if you're listening to this. His website is enlightenfits.com.
Yep. That's right.
Just spell out enlighten and fits FITS.com.
like outfits.
Yeah, like outfits.
Yeah,
or
the brand and what it stands for is amazing. He's got his logos an infinity sign, and it's just got some good messaging behind the branding. And
and
Yeah.
great messaging on all the apparel. You could do a lot worse than getting your kids outfitted in Javen stuff.
Yeah. It's basically just inspirational clothing, some wisdom on some clothes, and trying to enlighten people to our true potential.
I love it. Love it.
That's right.
What your Instagram is
Javen_enlightens.
Javen_enlightens.
That's right.
We should make sure to put it in the show notes. We'll see if we can do that. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. And thank you, Javen. Love you.
Yep. Love you guys.
Okay. See you guys soon.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by the True Agency Real Estate Team. If you are looking to buy, sell, or especially right now, invest, by the way, you should be investing in real estate right now, contact us. Or if you're a real estate agent that is committed to personal growth, we need to talk. We are looking to grow our real estate team. So if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, or you're a real estate agent and you need growth, contact us. Also brought to you by True Studios. If you are in Tooele County or nearby, we record, edit, produce, distribute all parts of your podcast. We give you the space, the time, the expertise so that you can have your own podcast. All you have to do is show up, be there, and then we handle everything else. So if you've always wanted to have a podcast, don't know how to start, don't know how to do it, get a hold of us. Reach out. You can reach out to us at True Studios or True Conscious Couple or True Agency Team. Reach out to me, reach out to Tiffany, reach out to Trenton. All of us are available. We would love to help you get that out. Thank you so much.